Okay, class, I'm going to do a little bit of a summary. Most of this is going to be drawn, or I should say, our point of departure will be chapter 5 of the Renz book. And this is actually the chapter written by the author, David O. Renz. And it's broadly descriptive, nicely detailed, in my view, well written. And it goes over basically the key structures and elements of nonprofit organizations. And as I said, I believe it does a good job of that. One area, though, I did want to point out is that, and this is hardly a criticism, the Renz chapter is a description of the key components that should be incorporated into nonprofit organizations. What it doesn't do is describe the or get into the values and the core missions, because of course there's a great deal of variety among nonprofit organizations. So if we, for our purposes here, focus on civic-centered and community-based nonprofit organizations, and that's a very broad array of operations. It includes charitable, faith-based, sports associations and the such, soccer groups, Pop Warner football, Little League, all of that come under the general rubric of, community-oriented and/or charitable organizations. But what you, I think, would do well to understand is that the nature of nonprofit organizations at the community level do represent communities. And by communities, I mean subsets of the public. The overall public interest is the realm of government. Government speaks in the name of the people, of all citizens. However, nonprofit organizations are particularistic. They are looking at portions and or what we might call communities, and thus will reflect and what's the word I'm trying to come up with here? Basically produce, articulate those values. And those could be very wide-ranging. And for the most part, they're fine. And, to some extent, who are we to judge? But that said, you just have to pay attention to that. If you are involved with nonprofit organizations, you are probably involved with them because they resonate with your values and your beliefs and with your vision of where you believe the community ought to be going, and perhaps by extension society as a whole. But it's a wide range, and you do well to remember that faith-based organizations and civic-centered social change organizations have done immense amount of work in, for example, the civil rights struggle. But by the same token, you had faith-based organizations and civic nonprofit organizations that were fighting tooth and nail against social change. The Ku Klux Klan is a nonprofit organization. So my point is, and this gets to what I alluded to earlier, is that nonprofit organizations tend to reflect community values, and those communities can vary widely. And so if you are, at some point or another, you may, if only for philosophical reasons, encounter the fact that there are a lot of nonprofit organizations out there that you might find despicable, useless, or anti-community, or at least anti-your community. But that's not the nature of how we organize nonprofits. Nonprofits are organized, again, around community values, and those do vary widely to the extent that it almost becomes tribal. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. The rest of the section gets into the nuts and bolts of organizing and being effective as a nonprofit organization, and that's fine and well. One more note, I'll just speak to this right now. Now and then, you will see some allusion in our in either the video presentations, but more in the Echo 360, the voiceover PowerPoints that are presented as part of this course. Towards the end of them, I know in one or two cases, there'll be some reference to some sort of assignment. I've incorporated some of the 360 presentations from previous courses into this one because the content, it's consistent with the themes that we're going over, and there's no point in reinventing those wheels. And there are technical reasons too. I'm in a remote location. It turns out that I can't post an Echo 360 from anywhere but on the TAMIU campus. So don't pay any attention, or I should rather say, when in doubt, go to the calendar and go to the course syllabus for what the scheduled assignments are. The references to other assignments I might make towards the tail end of an Echo 360 may not be relevant to you for this particular course, which has been redesigned. So I just wanted to let you know that to avoid any confusion. Okay, good, and carry on. We have a quiz that's going to be forthcoming, and a study guide is going to be issued shortly. So stay tuned for that. Okay, bye-bye now.